record. So welcome to this month's Parenting Pit Stop. These are going to be monthly meetings that we have. So I'm so excited that you guys could join us for this month's meeting. This is the first time that we're doing this, so it's something new that we're trying here at Region 9. So we're so glad that you could take a few minutes out of your super busy schedules with back to school time and all the crazy things that are happening to join us to help to improve some of your skills and maybe get some questions answered. I'm Melissa Bernheimer, and I'm the school safety lead at Region 9.
Hi, and I'm Jessica Hoffman. I am the school counseling specialist at Region 9. And so today our topic, we're going to focus on a pretty big topic, and that is anger management. And whether that's helping your kids handle big feelings or keeping your own cool in the heat of the moment, this is something that every parent faces at some point.
And today we are super lucky to have Marissa Rader here. She is an LPC from the Region 9 ESC Mental Health Initiative. And so you might have seen her either at the ESC or out in some of our school districts here with us. And she's going to share some practical, easy to use strategies that you can use right away, either with your kids or yourself. So thank you for being here with us today, Marissa.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here talking to parents because this is something that I'm very passionate about. Um, just a little very quick, because I know we don't have, I'm not going to go over the time for y'all, but I know we have a lot of time, but just a little background. I've worked a lot with anger. I used to run the anger management group at um, in juvenile justice. So I've worked in juvenile detention, alternate education program, also known as JJAEP, and worked with children and also adults. So I worked inpatient as well, and there was a lot of anger that I worked with in that area too. And now I get to as well, among with other things, with my kids that I see on the campuses, because I do work at Region 9 and I'm part of the Mental Health Initiative program, where we get to go out to different schools in Region 9 that are part of our program, and basically kind of like bringing private practice to the school because and it's free, and we get to meet with kids there and work with them one-on-one. So that's pretty cool. I'm going into my 4th school year. So I used to say I don't have much experience in schools. I mean, very little besides JJAEP, which is a little bit different. And so now, I mean, I don't think I can say that anymore. So, but I'm really excited to be here. And I think, do we have just other than us 3? We have 3. Okay, that's what I'm seeing.
I believe there are 4. It says
4?
there
Okay.
are 6 participants, so that would be 3 plus us.
Okay. I don't know why I can't see everybody.
And I was going to say too, if you guys have questions, we do have time for questions and answers at the end. You're also welcome to put those in the chat. And as Marissa is presenting, Jessica and I will monitor the chat. And so feel free to ask questions in the chat, or we'll have time for that at the end as well.
Yes, that's what I was going to say, because anger affects everyone, no matter what age. So I didn't know what age range we're looking at. And so if I talk about something and you want something a little bit more specific for your children's age, or even your own, you can just put that in the chat and they'll let me know. Okay. So I'll get on here. So like Melissa said, we're talking, and like I've said it a million times probably just now, but anger management. Today I want to go into like defining what anger is and what it's not, and identifying what's driving it, what's underneath it, and what's underneath the hood, since we're talking about cars. Parenting pit stops. Discuss skills for management, things that we can use and things that we can help them use, and then questions. Okay, I'm gonna start with this is really short. Well, it's super cute, and I think it's super, and this kitty does a really great job of explaining anger, and I thought it was pretty cute. So I used it in one of my presentations, and I wanted to use it here. Hopefully it'll.
Anger issues explained with cats. Kitty gets angry fast, sometimes before Kitty even knows why. Kitty grew up holding it in, now it spills out. Kitty cannot control it. Kitty learned that yelling means power. Silence meant weakness, so now even small things feel like big threats. A delay, boom. A mistake, explosion. Kitty reacts to protect, not to hurt, but then Kitty feels bad. Every time. The guilt comes quick, the shame stays longer, then replays it all night. Kitty says, "I'm sorry," and means it, but still feels broken inside. Kitty doesn't want to be this way. Kitty wants calm, but Kitty's body still thinks it's in survival mode. It's not just anger, it's fear, sadness, panic, all wearing the same face. Kitty is learning, slowly, to pause, to breathe, because deep down, Kitty doesn't want to fight. Kitty just wants to feel safe. Anger is
Okay. Make sure it doesn't talk. Okay. So that's just a little clip. And, anger doesn't always, we don't always see it that way. It's not always, um, it's something that we have to learn how to manage, right? And so I thought that was a pretty cute little snippet. And that's not, that one talked about how this kitty learned to manage anger. And so that may or may not be the case for our children. Sometimes inadvertently, how, we're handling something, they kind of pick up on it, or we're all born with our own temperaments. And so they may find their own way to deal with something. So, I thought that was a cute little snippet. Okay. So it's the big thing on this is it is a secondary emotion, which means it's not we may see it as the first thing, but there's something usually underneath it. 90% of aggressive behaviors that we see with our kids are usually linked to something that's underneath it, and that could be anxiety, fear, trauma. And so there's something else there. A lot of times it gets confused with aggression. So we think of anger, we think of aggression, but anger is an emotion that we all feel, and aggression is an action. So a lot of times we're raised to think that anger is bad. However, anger isn't good or bad. It just is, because it's an emotion. It's telling us something. And aggression, it's what we do with that anger that can be labeled as good or bad. So aggression can be bad. So, but a lot of times we put those two together, but they're not always the same exact thing. So it's not the problem, it's a clue. A lot of times we may say, think it's bad, it's don't be angry. I know we hear that a lot, and it's scary for people. Anger can be really scary. And sometimes it's hard for us to learn to know how to manage or what to do with it. And so, but it's not bad. We need to identify it and figure out what is going on so that we can help it. Just like when there's a light that goes off on our dash on our cars, and I have that happens, and I don't know about you all, but sometimes I just ignore it. And if we do that, it can compound and become a bigger issue, right? Just like with our vehicles. So this is a really nice car. Looks like a BMW. My friend actually created this for me. We told her what we wanted, and she was like, "I got you." So, we see this car. We see these are behaviors we may see. We may see someone being rude, where you feel like our kids are being disobedient. They might be shouting, crying, and yelling, biting, throwing, kicking, whatever it may be. That's what we see. So that's that first thing that we see, right? And then secondary. So it's the secondary emotion. It's what we see underneath it. We lift the hood and we see, oh, they're anxious, they're overwhelmed, they may be lonely, they may be scared. So I'm going to show side by side. So what we see on the left, that's what we see. That's what maybe the teachers see. That's what we see. Other people may see it. We can tell, like, there's something going on because it's smoking, it's leaking something, right? But we need to lift up and look under the hood and see, what is it? Explore it a little bit more. And when we lift it up, there's a fire under there. Something is on fire. And if we don't take care of it, it can get worse. And so we can either be an agent for change in a good, in a positive way. Or we can add fuel to the fire, which we don't want to do. And sometimes we do it and don't mean to and don't realize that we are. Okay. That's another clip. And sometimes our kids feel like this, or we even feel like this.
Are you mad? Are you mad?
No.
Are you grumpy?
No.
Are you sad?
No.
Are you angry?
No.
What are you?
I don't know.
Right? Sometimes we don't know. And so we may ask our kids, well, are you mad? Why are you mad? And sometimes we get back that I don't know. And it just kind of makes it worse sometimes, or it may feel that way. And that's true. So if we learn what's underneath it, and we figure out, even us, I do a activity whenever I do this presentation, where we figure out what's underneath our hood, which is, I usually do an iceberg, where we see the tip of the iceberg, which is those angry, or those aggressive, or those anger related behaviors, but we don't see what's underneath it. We don't see what's under the water, even deeper, which are the things like, sadness, loneliness, anything that sets you off. And so I like to figure out what we have, because that's really important if we know what what's underneath our hood, so to speak. Okay, so if we want our children to thrive, we must teach them to understand and manage their emotions rather than suppress them. This is from a book by Mark Brackett, Permission to Feel. So a lot of it goes back to how we teach them to manage it. And like I said, sometimes inadvertently, we don't realize, we think and that's the way it is with parenting a lot of times, is it's trial and error. We don't know if this is going to work. So we try this and that doesn't work. So we try something else. And every child that we have is different. I have 2 of my own and they are completely different. And so then I'm going to approach things with each of them differently. And that's okay. And just making sure that each kid gets exactly what they need. And so teaching them to understand what's under their hood, because sometimes we just don't know. They may say, I don't know why I'm mad. And this kind of goes along with the parenting, that the pit stops theme. But so sometimes thinking about road rage, if someone swerves and almost hits us or comes in our lane or something, we may yell out and say something that we shouldn't say, or, it comes out as anger, but underneath it, usually fear, because I'm scared they're going to hit me, especially, if we have our kids with us or whatever it may be. We got places to go and we're parents. Like we have so many jobs, so many things to do. We can't stop. And so that's kind of scary. And that's what's underneath it. So that secondary emotion, it looks like anger, and sometimes there is anger, but then something else under it. So trying to piece together, and I have a Padlet, which is basically like an online resource booklet. And I have the QR code that you can scan with your phone later at the end of this. And in that is a little worksheet. You don't have to print it out or do it on paper or anything, or you can even create your own, but it is a stoplight, or it's like the red, the green, and the yellow. And in that are different ways that you can talk to your kids about identifying what upsets them, identifying how that looks, and what it is that sets them off, what their triggers or activators are, and figuring out what's helpful and what's not helpful. Because like I said, sometimes we can fan the flame and not even realize it. And sometimes just because we're parents and we ask about it, that can be really triggering to our kids, but then someone else may ask and it's okay. But because we are that safe person a lot of times for our kids. And so we get sometimes like the big behaviors that other people may not see. And so they may lash out at us because they've held it in. And so then they come home and they're in their safe place and they can just kind of let it out. And I know that's hard too. That's really hard. On the flip side of that, that usually means you're doing something right, because they feel safe enough to express themselves with you. So just helping them to figure out what it is though. So going more into like the triggers and the activators and what sets us off, it can be environmental, internal, social. So environmental, noise, crowding, changes. So we think about back to school. A lot of schools have either already started or they're getting ready to start. And this is a big change for our kids because it's a different routine. The routine is, I mean, it's hard for all of us sometimes to wake up early. Is they're back to that regular getting up, getting out the door, getting on the bus, or maybe driving or riding with somebody. All of that is a change. And then they're going back into, maybe it's noisy there. They're changing classes, they're crowded, and they may not like to be super close to people, and they haven't had to be all summer, and now they're back to that. So that's something that can set them off. Something that happened at second period, they can carry with them, and you're seeing it in the evening, and you may not even realize it, that's what it is, because it's just built and built and built. Internal, hunger, are they tired? They feel shame, things that they're carrying with them. I like the acronym HALT, HALT. Or for me, for others, for anybody around me, if I'm upset and I'm feeling agitated or irritated, I need to stop and think, what's going on with me? Am I hungry? Am I angry? Am I lonely? Am I tired? And when we think about those, because there's hangry, you've probably heard of, right? So that there is something to be said about that. Those are things that can activate us. So I need to eat something. What am I angry about something? Am I lonely? And that could also mean not necessarily like you're alone, but I mean, you can be in a room full of people and still feel alone. So not necessarily that. You could even be missing someone that you've lost, a loved one. That could be the lonesome part of that. You could be missing somebody that you don't get to see very often. And then tired, I mean, whenever we look back at that video of the little baby that was saying, I don't know, I don't know. I think he was probably tired. He was probably tired. And so we, us too, if we're tired, we're not running, our tank is not full, we are going to be more susceptible to being angry, to letting that come out. Social, so rejection, teasing, injustice, they may feel like something's not fair. Can be something really small, but it may be something really big to them. So it's important to kind of pay attention to these things, because again, you may hear about it and they may just barely mention it, and that may have been a really big deal to them, but they're not really showing it. And you may have checked it off as not being a big deal because in your mind you feel like it wouldn't be, but to them it may be. And so these are things that are starting back with school starting back. I don't know about your kids, but mine, whenever they were younger, I was thinking, do y'all feed them at school? Because they would come home starving. I know they do. They do feed them, right? They would have snack, they would eat lunch, and they took care of them. But my kids would come home starving. So they were used to eating probably more often throughout the day. They're going to be hungry. They're going to be tired. Those days are long. Even as a high schooler coming home, sometimes they come home and crash, right? So they may feel a little bit of shame or a little bit of embarrassment. They may feel rejected. There's new friend groups forming. These are all things that we're going to see. And so this may be going on, but then they come home and we're seeing that anger. We're seeing it come out because they've held it together all day. Now they're coming home and they're just like letting it go on their siblings, on us, on themselves. Okay. And then and we won't really go into this. I could do a series on anger, but there are different anger styles. And so I just want to barely touch on this a little bit because like I said, that could be a whole other series, is figuring out your anger style and your child's. But one is sometimes we don't really see any cues or clues, which we'll talk about here in a minute. They just kind of go off and kind of more out of the blue explosive. So here's a good example of that.
So what are you?
I think we're here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I think you may be in our seats.
No, I don't think so.
Can we take a look at your ticket?
Sure.
Yep. Yeah, see, this says D13, and
Oh, well, I thought that
You
we
thought,
were.
huh? Yeah, well, that didn't really work out too well for it, did you, idiot? What are you, a moron, huh? It's just D13, okay? Look, you're surrounded by even numbers. Does that give you some clue?
The usher told her. we
Oh,
should come-
well, the usher must be right. What with all the training they go through? Get out! Here. Hey, man, you want the aisle?
Okay, so that was a bit extreme, but maybe not, right? Because we do see that sometimes in our kids. We may have felt like that before. So sometimes it's just bam and then back. Some early warning signs, like I said, there weren't really any warning signs before he went off. So sometimes we don't see them, but sometimes we do. And so there's nonverbal, verbal, and behavioral, and you know your children. So you're going to know if these things are a warning sign for something going on with them, because whenever it says sarcasm or short responses, I have a 16-year-old and he speaks in sarcasm. So that, and he's not angry in that moment. So it just, you know, right? You kind of know, okay, this is off. This isn't their typical behavior. Because the pacing or restlessness, sometimes our kids are that way. There may be something else going on that is one of, you know, the things that they show. I have a child who is always restless. She's always moving, always flipping, doing something, moving around. So again, that may not cue to me. Now, clenched fists, that may be a good sign for me with my own to think, okay, this isn't typical. What's going on? So we can usually see it, right? And then we can see them withdraw. They may be withdrawing from their friends. They may be withdrawing in things that they used to enjoy doing. They may quit wanting to do. So there may be something beneath that. Sometimes they've just outgrown something, and that's okay. But other times it may be cue to something else going on. They're getting a little hostile or aggressive in their language or their posturing or however it is. That is a warning sign. I know those and those can be pretty scary. So the thing is with those, sometimes you're already in the moment. But if we can catch it before then, and we can make it a point to connect them and talk to them about things and let them have an outlet, it can be helpful to keep them from getting to that aggressive spot. An analogy that I like to use with kids that I work with, or anybody really, is I think of anger sometimes as a ball in the water. So if you're standing waist deep in a pool, in the lake, at the beach, wherever, and you have a ball, it doesn't matter what kind of ball, it's just a ball that's filled up with air. So soccer ball, basketball, or volleyball, whatever it may be. If you push it down, it's gonna be pushing, that resistance is there. It's gonna be pushing back up. And so our anger is kind of like that. We're pushing it down. And if we let go of it, and we will, because we're gonna get tired of holding it down, it's gonna come back up and it could hit us in the face. So it could be a huge explosion, or if we let it go slowly and we manage it in increments, then it's less likely to have such a big reaction. Okay. And then talking about anger clues, there are some cues here, and I think this is a good example of how sometimes we just don't see everything. So the person, I want you to look for things and think, they're not seeing, this person on the receiving end of the words at the end is not seeing what's happening. They're not seeing the full picture because they physically can't see. And what other warning signs, what other things do you think may have activated or triggered this person?
All right, okay.
Here we go. All right, ready? Yeah. Turn.
Okay.
Turn. Turn.
I don't think we can turn anymore.
I just don't think it's gonna fit.
Oh yeah, Will. Come on, up. Yes. Here we go. Pivot.
the world? Sorry, guys. Okay, so he got hurt, right? I was gonna try to open it so I could see if anybody's on here, so I can see your reactions because I can't see anybody. I can see Melissa. Okay. So what's something, if you want to speak up, I would love that. But what's something that you feel like you're like, oh, that probably set them off right there.
I think just not being able to see and not, and
Mhm.
so they kind of got trapped, and the frustration of not being able to move the sofa, and so there was frustration there. There was, probably being hot and sweaty and tired.
Yes. Yes, that's what I thought too. I thought, okay, Ross, I mean, y'all probably are familiar with Friends, but Ross is at the top and he's yelling pivot, right? Pivot, pivot. And then Chandler is trying, but he is being smashed. And so sometimes that's us. We're the parent, we're Ross. We can't see. We don't know. We're like, come on, let's go, let's go. And that's the thing that I thought was, okay, ooh, he got smashed. He's probably hurt. And I know a lot of times, if that's another thing, if we get hurt, we get mad. That's the way, if somebody stubs their toe, they might cuss, right? You get angry. It's that reaction to pain is anger. So that's another one of whenever we talk about secondary emotions, that's something else that can be under the hood is pain. If we're hurt, we may be getting angry. So what we can do is stay calm. I know that's super hard sometimes, especially if we're activated. We have to regroup and think big picture. How is this going to affect our relationship, down the road? How is this going to impact us? Like big picture, is this really, how do I want to respond to this? Like I want to choose, validate and acknowledge. So again, whenever I was talking about something that may be a small thing that we think, oh my gosh, it's no big deal. It may be a big deal to them. So validating them and acknowledging them. And it's so simple and so easy to do. And it's in our words. So just sitting there and not being, I know, because like our phones, this is something that we have all the time. So just not being like, oh, yeah, okay. And it's so hard because I know I find myself just trying to respond really quickly to a text message or something. Or if you're like me, you think, oh, I need to do that right now, I'm going to forget. And so, but it's a barrier a lot of times between us, especially when you're communicating. So if they're really trying to tell you something that is important to them, trying to be mindful of putting it away and listening, and in that, and just looking at them and being present, that is validating as well. And you're acknowledging that, hey, I hear you. And just saying, oh, that sounds like that was really rough. Or that sounded like, it sounds like that hurt you. Just speaking to them and letting them know that they heard you. And so sometimes in doing that, I know I've worked with kids before and I've just said that it's so simple. I've said that to kids before and they're like, oh my gosh, you get it. Nobody has understood what I'm saying. And I'm thinking all I did was just validate, right? It's so simple. I didn't do anything magical. And then I work with kids that were like, yeah, duh, that's what I just said. And so you never know how it's gonna go, but you're validating them, you're letting them know, you're hearing them. And sometimes that's what it is. They want to be heard and offering space and choices. And I go back to the validation and acknowledgement. Sometimes it's hard because we want our kids to do well and make all the right choices, and we want things to be easy for them, and it isn't always. So sometimes it's hard for us to hear the hard things, but reacting to them is not going to help them because whatever has happened has already happened, and reacting is not going to change it. It's only going to make it worse. Or reacting and something hasn't happened yet may push them further to be like, I'm just going to go do that anyway. And so if we can try to be neutral and remain neutral and supportive, that is key there. Offering space and choices. So you can do this with your little ones and your older ones. So I think of the little ones. Do you want me to walk with you because we have to leave? Or do you want to walk yourself? Or, like walking into the school, or walking to their classroom? I'm going to walk you to the door. Do you want to walk all the way by yourself, or do you want me to walk with you the rest of the way? Simplifying communication, so not overdoing it. Oh, you can't see my screen? Oh my goodness. Is it just me? You see me? Oh no. Okay. I need to share it again. I don't know why where that little green thing went. Where'd that go?
Is it down at the bottom of the screen?
Mm-mm. I wonder if I kicked myself off somehow. Sorry, y'all. Okay. Could see it. That's really weird. It is completely gone. My screen sharing is gone. Okay. I know. It's weird.
Do you want to email it to me?
Yeah.
Okay, email it to me and I'll share it.
I think I can share it with you through Canva. Or I think I can add you as a. Okay. Well. Oh no, now my dog's barking. Everything's.
Okay, can you guys see that now?
Yes, we can see that, but it looks like we lost Marissa.
Oh no.
Sorry, guys.
I love technology. Oh, she's still here.
Okay, she's back.
Turned her video off. Okay, let me get to where you stopped, Marissa.
Okay. Sorry, y'all. Everything like went wild.
Okay, so are we here?
We're
We're back.
back a little. Let me see. We're on what can we do?
Right here. Okay, I'll just switch for you.
Thank you. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Okay. Do you see me?
Yeah.
You see me? Okay. Okay, because that's not what's going on. Okay. So, what we can do is, I know we talked about validating, acknowledging, offer them space and choices, and simplifying communication. So not over talking or over explaining. And sometimes initially, if they're telling us something, not overly communicating with them is helpful, because sometimes they don't want to hear a solution. They just want to be heard. And that's the thing, is sometimes, and a lot of times as parents, we are fixers. We want to fix it, whatever it is. We don't, we're thinking, okay, we're very solution focused, which is awesome. Sometimes we have to scale it back though and think, okay, I just need to listen and not, talk over them or talk at them, and just kind of be present. So it's not so much as what we say, but how we say it, because sometimes there are things even with our peers that may be going through something, or someone else, and it's not so much what we say, because if they're going through something and we think, oh gosh, I don't know what to say, but that really is terrible and I hate that for them. And so we try to think of something that may comfort them. Sometimes we don't have the words, and that's okay. So it's not so much as what we say, but in how we say it, and just letting them know, hey, I'm here for you, and I am I'm supporting you. So that is a lot of that. And I know it sounds so simple, but it is. It's really what it's all about. So, we can go to our next one. Is I can't even see myself anymore. Is my background still the parenting pit stops? Or have I completely?
No, your camera hasn't changed at all. You're still on there and we can still see your
I'm still
background
on
too.
there. Okay, good, because I cannot
Mhm.
see y'all anymore. So I was hoping y'all can see me. All right. Um, and then I know we've heard, well, I want, they still need to, we still need to hold them accountable. And I get that. And that's not, we're not, so it's accountability without escalation. So sometimes we can escalate the problem. So like I said, we can add fuel to the fire. Um, Trying to approach it in a different way. So instead, you've got a kid that doesn't like to get up. Like I said, I know sometimes that can be all of us. Sometimes it's hard to wake up early. And especially right now with school starting back, it's going to be tough. Or it may not be some, or at first it may be you may have that kid that's like, woohoo, I'm excited to be back. And they jump up and they get ready. And then a week or two, they're back to, oh, I don't want to get out of bed. They're tired, right? And it's just kind of getting back into that routine. So this may be something that you're seeing, maybe not. You may be perpetually late. And so instead of you're always making me late, um, trying to, it's time to go. What can I do to help you get out the door? So that accountability piece is that first part. Like it's time to go. Like we have to do this. And then offering them choices. Like we talked about, choices. We've kind of barely touched on that, but what can I do to help you? So you're giving it to them, but you're also holding them accountable, but you're also saying, what can I do? Because you may have a very um, determined child who thinks, oh my gosh, mom has to sign 15 pages for me and I need to find a pen. So they're like, I'm just going to find it. So they're running around the house and you're thinking, what in the world are you doing? And so you may be able to help them with something, right? Um, so trying to reword what we say. So again, it's how we say it. And so you're still trying to get them out the door, but we're not adding we're removing that shame, but we're continuing with the accountability. And so we're not trying to excuse the behavior, we're just trying to get to the explanation. Like what is beneath it? Like what's going on for us to kind of have whatever to see this anger, see these behaviors. So trying to rewrite a discipline moment into a co-regulation moment. And another thing is whenever we know better, we can do better. So if you're thinking, oh my gosh, it's too late, my kid's this and this age old, and I messed up. No one is perfect, and we can always apologize and do better. I should see that as losing. That's what she's doing. Okay. So sorry. Um, it's never too late, and it's okay to apologize. I know that's another one that's been hard. Because I know sometimes we're taught if apologizing is a sign of weakness, and it's not. It's another one of those you're taking accountability for your actions and you're modeling for them what they can do if you know if they do something because sometimes we say things that we shouldn't have said and we regret it. And so just naming it and acknowledging it, especially out of anger sometimes. And so naming it, acknowledging it, and then apologizing for it and changing that behavior, not making it a point to not do that again or trying hard not to do that again. That is something that we're showing them how to do. So again, we're holding them accountable, holding ourselves accountable, and we're not escalating it. We're not adding fuel to the fire. Okay, we can go to the next one if you. Okay, so what do we do? Again, just trying to shift it from punitive to positive. So we are removing so that shame and that anger that we may bring to the table, we're removing that and shifting our focus. And like I said, we're looking to make an excuse for the behaviors, but we're trying to find an explanation, like what is going on. Because behavior is a form of communication. And so what are they telling me? And sometimes it's hard for our kids to tell us. And I did this presentation with a room full of adults, and I asked them what was easier for them to show if they're angry. Is it easier to show that they're angry? If they're sad, is it easier to show that they're sad? Or if they're sad, um, and it looks like anger, is that easier to show than actually showing how we truly feel? And almost everyone said it's easier to show that we're angry. So anger is been a more in our society, it's been for the most part, it's been a more acceptable emotion to show. And also sometimes depending on different cultures and just how we are raised, anger may be encouraged or looked at as a sign of a strength versus showing sadness, right? So, sometimes it's what we see, and we kind of need to get to the bottom of that and think, am I sad or am I that? Like, what's going on under this? And my kid, is it easier for them to just say, fine, I don't care, but they really do care, and we maybe have hurt their feelings or someone else has too. We don't know. So getting to the bottom of it. And then, like I said, it's never too late. So opportunities for regulation and trying again. So regulating ourselves, like getting ourselves back in check and helping them to do the same thing. So they either inherit our chaos or they share our calm. And we kind of set the tone because we are the parent, we are the adult. So whatever it is that we are giving out, a lot of times they pick up on it. And that's what they have as well. So that's even with adults. If you're in an environment where everyone is pretty positive, it's easier to be positive, and that's probably going to be what everyone kind of has. If it's negative, that negativity can spread. So just knowing that we set the tone and trying to be mindful of how we show up for our kids. Okay, we can go to the next one. All right, so identifying the need behind the behavior, and this is just thinking of it as the elbow is the behavior, and then you go off, and there are 5 potential needs that they're trying to get met, which is why we're seeing the behavior. So they refuse, we'll say, for example, somebody refuses, we have a child that's refusing to do their homework. They may be enjoying their current activity, they may be tired, overstimulated, hungry, or they need help with the content or attending. That's something that you may see or may have already seen. You may have a kid that really hates to go to math class, and they haven't outright said, oh, I'm struggling with it. They're saying, I don't like the teacher. I don't like this. I don't like that. Or, a lot of times kids will say that it's dumb. It's this, it's that. But it may be because they don't really know what they're doing because it's hard. And so we got to figure out what it is behind that. Okay. And so the next one is arguing with siblings. I don't know if this is something that y'all are seeing, but this is a big one for our families, especially if it doesn't even matter. I feel like, I don't know, I've seen it doesn't matter how far apart in age they are. A lot of times arguments happen, right? So are they seeking connection? So sometimes we know that children with ADHD are seeking, they're understimulated, they're wanting to do something. They're like, I'm so bored. So they will pick at their siblings sometimes because they're bored and to get that dopamine hit. Are they seeking to connect with them? Are they seeking safety? Are they overstimulated? Their feelings hurt. They have needs. So again, the behavior, what we see is the elbow, and then you think there are typically five needs that are trying to get met. And a lot of times they ask for it in the way that we wouldn't think is typical. So if someone needs connection, we may think, okay, they're they may just say, I need a hug. They don't ask for it a lot of times that way, right? Okay, we get that one, if you click it, I think it's just gonna pop up the different little, yeah, okay. We talked about those. We can go. Okay. And then this video, so we know. Is the sound's probably not working, huh? Okay, so that video, the girl says, "Thank you, you have broken the curse and I am free." Something like that. And so it's it's when someone tells you to calm down when you're mad, and it doesn't go that way. So it's kind of funny and saying when I don't know if you've seen the memes and it says, when has anyone ever calmed down by being told to calm down? Right? So that's kind of goes along with that. And that's something that usually isn't helpful. And that's something that can also activate people. So how to bring our own temperature down, finding the calm, 4-7-8 breathing, that is in for 4, hold it for 7, out for 8. We're helping to get oxygen into our lungs. It's sending a message to our brain to tell our body to calm down because we have a physical reaction when we're angry. And sometimes we don't realize it. Our kids don't realize it. They don't know how they experience anger. So learning that too, paying attention to how we feel when we're mad or thinking about it later, because we usually don't in the moment. We're not angry and think, okay, how am I reacting? We usually don't. So trying to reflect. And drinking water, and I know this is something that we hear all the time, drink your water, but if you drink your water, it helps you to take a sip of something and to calm down and to think about it before you say something. And so that helps you. Also, if you have something to chew on or something sour or something spicy or mints, warheads, gum, anything like that, that also stimulates something in your brain that helps you to make helps you make decisions. Clenching or scrunching your toes. If you've got frustration and you need to do that, you can do that. And if you're wearing closed-toed shoes, nobody will see you, right? So you can get rid of some of that tension that you may have, or even so it goes along with like progressive muscle relaxation, which is a technique that people do to help them calm. You can even scrunch your shoulders and let it go. Walking away and coming back if it's safe for you to be able to do that, because we can't, leave our littles. If you have a big kid and we think, okay, I need to walk away and we're gonna come back at this whenever I'm calm. And you can even name that, like, hey, I'm not avoiding this. We're not just gonna ignore it and let it build and build and build. I'm gonna come back to you when we're both in a place that we can have a conversation about it. And then afterwards, you having a relaxing moment, taking care of yourself. As parents, it is hard. And all that we do usually revolves around our children, which is great. We also have to take care of ourselves so that we can best take care of them, whatever that may be. Calming music. Meditation is something that some people do, or even just prayer, however, whatever you want to do. That's a good way to practice mindfulness, which mindfulness is literally just paying attention to just being in the moment. And if you practice mindfulness for even 15 minutes a day, it can help you to calm. So the thing is to take care of yourself whenever you're not mad. That's going to help you be able to calm yourself down easier whenever you are angry. I know this works because we would do guided meditation. It was just a script that would help you, like a progressive muscle relaxation, like, notice your hands, notice your feet. I know that may sound silly, but we would do these with the kids at Juvie, and they actually talked about how they felt more calm, like after weeks of doing that. So I thought that was pretty cool. Okay, we can go to the next one. This is just our little last bit, and then we'll go to questions if we have any. So I'll wrap up our last pit stop of the night before y'all continue the journey on your own. It's good for us to recognize activators and triggers in ourselves and in others. So knowing what sets our kid off, knowing what sets us off. And sometimes as adults, we have to unlearn what we've been taught. And I say that lovingly with experience, because sometimes we're taught as children, well, you just need to listen to me because that's what I said. And then we don't know how to make decisions, or we don't know how to handle our own anger. And we're thinking, I don't know what's going on. So just trying to figure out what sets us off and being mindful of, yeah, it may set my kid off, and that's okay for them to have feelings. Responding with tools, like listen, connection is our biggest thing, connecting with them, spending time with them one-on-one without without our phones. Because like I said, that is a barrier. Reflecting on our triggers and activators and the outcomes and think, okay, that didn't go the way that I wanted it to, but what can we do next time? And so sometimes if we make big changes in ourselves and we start trying to be positive and we haven't always been, the kids may say, what's going on with you? What's wrong? And it may get better with them for a little bit and then it may get worse because that may not feel normal to them. And they're like, okay. And so they may act out. So it may get better and then it may get worse and then it may get better and then it'll kind of even out. Practice calming strategies when we're not stressed, like I talked about. That's going to help you. Knowing when to seek additional help, and it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to seek out counseling for yourself, for your kids, for your family. It's more than okay. It's really great. Like I said, it's never too late to turn around and to make better choices and to ask for a do-over with your kids or to apologize. Okay, that is it, but we have questions, but then on the next slide, if you want to pull the next one up, it has my QR code. That's to a Padlet with resources on it that y'all can look at. There are some different resources in there for parents that may, if you want to look at or you want to sign up for. And then just a handout too, something that you can use. And then I have the anger iceberg in there too. Trying to think. But do we have any questions?
None have come up in the chat, but
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So you came up with some really good tips with like progressive muscle relaxation and the guided meditations and things. So if parents wanted to start using those with either young children or older children or themselves, where could they access some of those?
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, so there is a free app, Yoga Nidra. I can put it in the chat. It's a free app. That's a place to look at, or that's something to look at. It's literally, it's not, I mean, I worked with a lady that was an LPC and she also was trained in trauma and yoga and she used this. This was what they used at the juvenile justice center. And so they have different time frames. So this is going to be for your upper elementary up to adults. So for littles, you're going to your time. So, and they have different times. Think of like a 10, 15 and a 30-minute because you're going to want to work up to it. For your littles, I can add one. I'll add one to the Padlet. I'm trying to think. I think there is one, but they have more fun ones. So you might see like the bubbles moving across the screen. They're going to have really small increments, but it's just that sitting and paying attention and being in the moment that, we're going to want to do. So that's but I'll add them. I can add them to the Padlet for y'all. So I'll look and see because I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. And we will add your Padlet too, if you will give me the link with this recording on the Region 9 website under Parenting Pit Stops. So everyone can access that as well.
Yes. It's in the QR code on that page, but I think I can send you just like the direct link to it too.
Okay, awesome.
It should be able for everyone to be able to access it. But yeah, I'll add that there. Did anyone have any like specific questions? Something that you're dealing with or that you see, or that you really wanted to learn about that maybe we didn't touch on? Because I know that was a lot really fast. And then, I had technical difficulties. But if y'all have anything specific, I'm more than happy to answer it. And also my email is there. So, you can also email me. Okay.
Okay, well, Marissa, we want to thank you very much for your information this evening. It was very informative and I know helpful and beneficial even to myself as a parent also. So Thank you for all of you that joined this evening. We know how busy and hectic your schedules can be at this time. We wanted to just kind of give you a quick reminder of any of the other parenting pit stops that we have coming up monthly. Our next one will be on September 18th. The month of September is Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month, so that will be our topic on September 18th with another licensed counselor that we have through our mental health initiative at Region 9, and that'll be with Christy McCasland. So again, we just thank you all for being here, and feel free to stay on and ask questions if you have any.